gamers, welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for joining me. Today I want to bring you another high-level gameplay review of a game that I had while on stream. And if you missed my streams and would like to check out the VODs, then I'll leave a link to it right up here. Anyways, I think this is going to be a very helpful video. My opponent here went for a one-base aggression play style, which I'm sure if you guys have played any of the Battle Aces beta, you probably have run into something similar to this at some point. The popular version of this was actually with the king crabs, and so we can already see here that my opponent is going for Steiner and airship. So that's kind of an interesting change up or mix, and so we'll see how it goes. Every one base aggression style of game is going to be a little different, probably depending on what your opponent is running and depending on what units they're teching up into. So this, I think, should at least give you a pretty good general idea of how to deal with that, and you'll get to see what I did here to try to combat his all-in rush on me, though. All right, so first up, I always like to pull up the menu here where I can see what my opponent is running in their deck, and I always like to evaluate what they are running and compare it to what I have, and see where there might be an advantage that I might have over my opponent, and kind of try starting to formulate a plan based around that. So first up, let's look at the core units that we're running. I have the Recalls and the Blink Hunters, while my opponent is running the Scorpion and the Missile Bot. Both are very solid choices, I think, and no clear advantage necessarily from that. Then if we look at the Foundry and his Foundry compared to mine, he's running the Swift Shocker and the King Crab, while I have the King Crab and the Heavy Hunter. And so the Swift Shocker is an interesting choice. I don't see that too often, but the Swift Shocker, I don't think, in my personal opinion, is all that strong, but as is the case for most units that are very fast, like the Swift Shocker, you do have to be careful with your positioning against them, because they can kite you very well, they can sneak around you, get to your workers, or try to cut off reinforcements and whatnot. So that's always something to keep in mind when going up against these very fast moving units like the Swift Shocker. So something to keep in mind, but I wouldn't necessarily say that he has a clear advantage here from the Tier 2 Foundry choice. And then lastly, in the Tier 3 slot, we have the Heavy Ballista for both of us. Obviously, the Heavy Ballista is a very strong option here, and with both of us running it, there's no clear advantage there either. So let's move on then to the Starforge options here. He's got the airship and the Steiner, while I have the Falcon and the Dragonfly. And now the airship, of course, is going to do very well against any air choice that I might have. And then the Steiner is going to do pretty well against a lot of different ground units, of course. So the Steiner also is another very fast unit, so you just always want to be careful around the Steiner. Keep that in mind, that it's very good at kiting units, and very good at getting away or sneaking around and whatnot. So it's always something to keep in mind. But the Steiner is also very squishy and can die very quickly and easily. I'm running the Falcon and the Dragonflies, and so I don't have much of an advantage here, if any, because he does have the option for the airship, which is basically the trump card for Tier 2 air units. So I think he's got a slight advantage here, having the airships and the Steiners. Very good choice for him. However, then if we look at the Tier 3 options for Starforge, he's got the Cat Bus, while I have the Valkyrie. So the Valkyrie then, is going to be basically the trump card that even trumps the airships. So that'll trump all air units together, basically. So the Cat Bus I wouldn't necessarily have to worry about as long as I'm able to get to the Valkyrie. So obviously we see in this game that he's immediately teching up into his Starforge, his Tier 2 Starforge, and he's staying on one base for now. And I already expanded into my first natural base here. And so I'm going to have to be playing pretty safe and on the defensive as I await his aggression, his rush here. So my initial thoughts and goals here are going to be to go for my Foundry tech as soon as possible so that I can combat his Steiners and airships or whatever he decides to throw at me. So at least I have the Heavy Hunter to deal with the airship. Even though my Blink Hunters will also deal just fine with the airship, it's nice to have the Heavy Hunter just in case things were to get a little out of control or something. So the King Crabs will do pretty well against Steiners, even though the King Crabs can get kited by the Steiners. If he's trying to all-in me, though, the Steiners probably aren't going to be able to deal too well with the King Crabs in that scenario. So let's see how this plays out here. I don't like going up against So again, I'm just starting out making some recalls. I'll probably skip forward just a little bit until we get into some action here. It looks like he's starting to send over some scorpions, so I move up my recalls slowly. It's important to remember that you always need to be very safe when going up against a one base all-in aggression playstyle. You got to be very careful not to lose any of your units yet, because you're going to need everything you can get for that big push when it comes in with his tier 2 tech, whatever it might be. So at this point, all you're looking to do is just stall and delay him while getting a few good trades here and there. So it's important that if you have something like the recalls, or let's say the blinks or something, you don't overcommit to any kind of fight. You don't want to lose too much at this point yet. So you just got to be very careful. So it's good that I didn't immediately teleport everything I had over there. Otherwise, he might have taken that fight and he might have taken out a few of my recalls, which would have been better overall for him. So let's see how this continues to develop here. So he's, I think, just trying to bait me out into making an aggressive move myself, and I'm doing a good job, I think, of just scaring him away, basically, and trying to get a little bit of a poke on him, but not taking any too big of a risk or anything like that. So now my workers are about to come online, so now I've got to play very safe still, but I want to try to save these workers if I can. I don't want to lose anything for it, but I don't want to lose any of my my military units for it. But if I can scare him off of my workers, that is also very good. So you can see I'm taking a route over on the right because I'm trying to cut off his exit. He has to decide at this moment, does he want to continue trying to commit to taking out these workers and sacrificing some of his scorpions, or does he want to pull back and try to bait me again into taking a bad fight against him? So let's see how he plays this. And there we go. So I'm trying to cut off his retreat and escape. And in fact, I probably could have taken even a wider angle here even. And perhaps I could have cut off some more of his scorpions. So not bad either way. But you can see he didn't get any value out of that. He didn't take out any of my workers yet. And now he's just running away and taking damage on his scorpions. So that's not good for him. I even pick off a couple there. So that's pretty good. So far I'm coming out on top. Now I see the Stingers coming in. Of course, the Stingers are extremely fast, so you got to be super careful against these. You can't overextend, or else they'll pick you off pretty quick. And so at this point, I have to decide: do I try to stand my ground here and try to save this natural resource space, or do I let it go? And I think the best option here is to just let it go. If you try to overcommit and take on too much at once, you'll just end up losing your whole army, and then subsequently after that, you'll just lose the rest of your base. So I think he's still trying to bait me out into taking a bad fight, and so far I'm doing a good job of not taking the bait. So I'm falling back a little bit, and he gets a little bit of a pot shot on me there, but that's just fine as well. So now he's committing to taking out my first resource base there. And he gets it. I let him have it. Again, I'm just trying to save my army as much as possible for my tech to kick in here, so that I have a real good chance then, hopefully, of saving the rest of my workers here. So now I'm moving them to the back of my base, and this is going to be the best and safest spot for you to take a fight. It puts your workers at risk, but at this point, your army is going to be more important. If you lose your army, you basically lose the game. He's just going to be able to clear up your workers from then on anyways. So right now, your most important piece is your army. So keep them close to your workers, and he will then kind of be forced to fight in kind of an awkward position where his units are going to be targeting both the workers and your army. So then your army is only going to be targeted on his army, and you should be able to clean him up and do more damage to him quicker than he can do damage to you. So that's why you kind of keep your army over here. And so he's trying to poke in here now, it looks like, and you can see he does a decent job of surrounding me, but he's not quite ready to commit. Also, keep in mind with your ranged units, something like the recalls or blinks, gunbots, whatever you might be running, try to do a better job of kiting than I do here, and then also try to do a better job of focus firing. You can see there's, again, a lot of scorpions here that are getting low on health, but they're still alive, and something that I said in my previous video that still holds true. A scorpion at 1 HP is going to do just as much damage as a scorpion at full HP, and a dead scorpion does no damage at all. So make sure you focus your targets. For sure, in this situation, I want to try to be focusing down the Stingers, actually, over the scorpions. So if the Stingers overextend a bit into my recall's range, I need to be trying to micro those recalls and specifically focusing down and targeting these Stingers as quick as possible, because that's the biggest threat. And they're pretty swishy too, so the recalls should be able to do pretty well against these, assuming I get a chance to focus fire them. So something to always keep in mind. And you can see he's again doing a pretty good job of poking me around here, and I'm not doing the best job of focusing single targets yet. So But you can see my recalls are doing a much better job because of where they're positioned behind my base and next to the workers. It's much harder for him to get in there and clear out my recalls in this situation here. So now I finally got my king crabs online, and I'm just popping a whole bunch of them out as much as I can, and hopefully they can start cleaning up a bit for me. So I get some of my king crabs out in the front, and that's kind of what my idea was. Put them out. I wanted to, kind of try to circle him and trap him in here, whatever units he had. I wanted to trap them in here and then create kind of a wall with my king crabs at the front there so that they would kind of cut off reinforcements. So let's take a quick look at that again. So you see how my king crabs, I spawn them out here so that then I have 2 of them coming back to deal with the army that's here, and then I have 4 of them here on the front line, hopefully to create a wall and a barrier from reinforcements coming in. So that's kind of the best case scenario I think there for me. And he's committing with his Steeners there, and they're all getting cleaned up, it looks like. And he tries to kite those away, and there we go. Yeah, all in all, not too bad of a fight for me. I lost some workers, which is to be expected, but I cleaned up most of his army. So overall, that's much better for me because now I still have a pretty good sized army left to face whatever else he's got coming my way. And I'm just going to get ready now and save up some resources, it looks like. So this is another good thing to keep in mind. With my lineup, it would be difficult for me to send out any kind of scouts. That's kind of the problem with running a slower lineup like I have, especially with the recalls. They're such a slow unit, it's kind of difficult to go scouting with them. I could, and then I could recall them back to base and they'd be fine, but they're just such a slow unit. Most likely, by the time you send them out, he's just going to be coming back anyways with the rest of his army. So if you are running something like Wasp or Scorpion or something that's a bit faster, you can send those out to start scouting and see what he's planning next. But in this case, if you can't do that, then I would just do what I'm doing here and just kind of sitting and waiting to see what he brings and saving up your resources. You can see I'm not making any more units yet because I want to wait and see what else he wants to come at me with. Is he going to bring more Scorpions and Steeners? That seems like, the most likely option. But there's a chance that perhaps he, brings in some airships, maybe some missile bots for some reason. I don't know. But, I've seen stranger things. So, saving up my resources, I think, is a good idea here because I can then create some heavy hunters or blink hunters if need be, if he brings some airships. So now the plan is going to be to just sit here and wait, and we'll see what he does. I'm popping out a few more recalls because that's basically the only thing I can do with the excess matter anyways. So yeah, might as well do that. You can see I'm positioning them behind my base again. Again, at this point, I'm still focused on winning the military fight here. I'm not as concerned about saving my workers as I am saving my army. If I can completely dominate another big fight, then I should be able to win from that point on. So now we see the airships coming over, so it's a good thing I got some resources saved up. I pop out some heavy hunters. Now, the heavy hunters are great, and I think they're probably even a little better against ground units than something like the blink hunter. However, I do think the blink hunters might have been a slightly better option for me here. Blink hunters are going to deal just fine with the airships, and then with them having that blink ability is super nice as well because it can kind of catch your opponent off guard. So I think maybe the blink hunters would have been slightly better here, but I think the heavy hunters are perfectly fine as well. So I won't criticize myself too much for that, I suppose, but just something to keep in mind and to note. We can see here, that I'm just keeping my units as safe as possible. I want to make sure that I can win the next fight convincingly, just as I did the one before. And so I'm just waiting to see what he does here. So he's got the airships now, but I'm feeling pretty safe because I got the heavy hunters. So I should be pretty well prepared for anything he wants to send at me. And so it looks like now he's going into a second resource base here, or his first resource base here. And so now I'm thinking it's my turn to make a move and try to be a little more aggressive against him now that he's got his resource base coming up. So I'm starting to move out a little bit, and then I see he's got some airships. So I shouldn't have run my entire army back, but I selected everything and brought it back. Not too big a deal, but I could have just brought the heavy hunters back real quick to deal with that. So not really worth it for him. He loses an airship and picks off one worker, so not really worth it for him. But now I'm going to go back and try to destroy that base, it looks like. So you can also see here, he is trying to cut off my army as they move out. But I do a pretty good job here of bringing my heavy hunters back to watch my rear end, basically. And You can also see I am still saving up resources. I feel pretty confident that I won the previous fight convincingly enough that I should be able to take on whatever he has, especially considering he just dumped a bunch of resources into his first resource base there. So I feel pretty confident with the army size that I currently have, and so I'm just banking up more resources in case he tries to send more units at my base while I'm moving my army out. So especially since he's got a faster army, potentially with the Scorpions and with the Stingers, it's just good to be careful of those sneak attacks and whatnot. So it's good to save up resources in that case. And again, I'm feeling pretty confident that I have a good enough army to beat whatever he might have. And now it looks like he sees me moving my entire army out, so now he feels like it's all clear for him to come in and take out my base. So it looks like he might be trying to do a base race against me here. And I'm still sending my main army to his first natural resource base there. And fortunately, I have enough resources banked up here that I can kind of delay him here. And so let's see what I end up doing here. Pump out some heavy hunters, some recalls, some king crabs. And yeah, he didn't have that big of an army, and I was able to delay at least, if not just clear this out with the resources that I had banked up. So yeah, once I show up to his base with my army, I see he's got nothing there to defend it, so it's not looking too good for him unless he's got a bunch of resources banked up. However, I was able to destroy his first resource base pretty quickly, and so I'm feeling pretty confident then at this point that he doesn't have enough banked up to defend against my push here. This is quite a lot of king crabs, and king crabs can destroy bases super fast, so I'm trying to manage between fighting whatever units he might pop out, as well as focusing down his bases quick, because I know he's got his army on my base as well, so it's a bit of a base race here now. However, I know that the king crabs have a much higher DPS than the Stingers, even though the Stingers have a very high DPS as well. And then I also have enough resources coming in to kind of help stall and delay him a bit more. So there we go. So yeah, that's the game there. I felt pretty good about that one. I wanted to show you guys a victory as well, and show you how I dealt with a one base all-in aggression style game there. So I thought it'd be great for us to kind of dive into this and learn how to defend against these one base rushing all-in tactics and whatnot. And while I think a king crab rush is bit more difficult to defend against, a bit harder. I think this has some pretty good overall general lessons and principles we can kind of learn from and apply to many other games that we play against the aggression style here. So with that said, I hope you learned something here, and if you haven't seen my previous gameplay review video, please check that out. I'll leave another link to that up here, and I'll be creating a playlist around all of these gameplay reviews. So if that's something you enjoy, please let me know in the comments below, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And let me know if there are any players in particular or games in particular that you would be interested in seeing me do a game review of, and I'd be happy to do that, whether it's for yourself or somebody else maybe. Feel free to reach out and let me know. Anyways, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you again soon in the next one.